Welcome to the Real and Real Estate Podcast, your go-to show for real estate success. Whether you're an agent aiming to crush it or a buyer or seller wanting the inside scoop, we're here to deliver expert advice, insider tips, and the real talk you need. Each episode, we chat with top industry pros to give you the facts, strategies, and inspiration you need to thrive in this business. Let's dive in and make big moves together. Hi, welcome back to the Real and Real Estate, where we talk to the experts to get the facts. And today we're here with an expert lender, and this is Ben.shores, a First Community Credit Union. So welcome back. This is your second time on our podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here again.
Thank you. Well, first time we talked about DSCR loans, which is very important. And if anyone out there did not hear it the first time, please look it up. But today we're going to talk about something that, well, they're all really exciting, but this is exceptionally exciting. Ben has a product that's 100% loan, and it's not just for doctors and lawyers, which oftentimes they are. Am I correct?
Correct. And it's also not just for veterans either. So it's not specifically, it's open to anybody.
Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit about that product, because I'm sure there are people out there going, okay, sign me up.
Well, it is a pretty neat program for sure. Most common misconception is that 20% down is required on to buy a home, and that's just simply not the case. There's so many different options. So if you ever have any questions, reach out. We can explore your options for you. But in this particular case, it is a true 100% zero down loan for anyone. First time home buyer,
Fantastic.
second time home buyer, fifth home buyer, whatever, right?
Well,
It
that's very exciting.
has to be a primary residence. That's
Okay.
kind of the only restriction. There's no income limits or location limit requirements that traditional first time home buyer programs are going to have.
Great.
So it can be in any location and any specific requirement. It will go up to conforming loan limits, which is 826,000. So it can go up
Okay.
to a nice amount. And you can get into a home with zero down, which is just crazy to think
Mind
of.
boggling. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So don't tell me you can't afford to buy a home, right?
that's right. That's right. And then the nice part is uh, y- you can get some seller contributions possibly and come to closing with little to nothing out of pocket. So
Yeah.
not only you're doing no down payment, but potentially with a little bit of seller concessions, you could get into a home with almost nothing. How cool is that?
Yeah, well, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, it doesn't. Again, it doesn't have any crazy rules or anything special that is going to stump people or um, cause them to. Uh, they're gonna like what they see. I'll tell you that whenever you get the loan estimate from me for something like this. So when you see that bottom line where it says zero down truly and little to bring it closing, man, it just I get
Amazing.
so much positive feedback and excitement from people. They can't believe that they were able to get into a home with little out of pocket. So
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that there are no location restrictions, because a lot of these special programs, you have to give the zip code and they
mhm.
approve that or they don't. So there's no location issue here, correct?
That is correct. All right. Yes, you are correct. Though most other programs are 100% specifically based in certain areas around town. So this one does not have that. So I don't have to go looking up zip codes and trying to figure it out. And I don't have to, the client doesn't have to worry about, oh man, do I have to stay in certain pockets of town or no,
Right.
it's open it up and you can go find your home once we get you pre-approved. So
Now, is there a credit score limits, requirements? How does that work?
Sure, sure. There is a credit score requirement, 700. So it is higher than a typical FHA or VA loan, but it's not
But it's
It's not
zero
like
down.
it's not like 780 or 800. So it
Right.
has to me it gives a good range. It kind of splits the difference. 620 is kind of the low is the bottom line for a traditional conventional loan, which
Right.
this is based off of conventional financing, but it's a portfolio loan that we just keep in house. Um, but it's underwritten just like a conventional loan. So we just basically follow what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac tell us for the basics of it, and then we just kind of override the ability that to do 100% versus Fannie's 97 or 95% financing. So pretty easy.
Well, if you're not sure what your credit score is, or if your credit score, contact Ben or some lender and they can help you figure that out. But if let's say your credit score is 680, if they contact you, you can tell them how to get that last little bit up to 700. Oftentimes, you can give them advice and direction so that once they hit 700, they're ready to go.
Oh,
And,
100%.
right?
Yeah, we try to either get a copy of their existing credit report if they have one, or I'll pull one and then we can walk them through what we think is needed in order to help boost their score up to get them there quick, um, and then walk them through it. Hopefully, we can get them there done and rescored pretty quick.
Now, one thing I want to clarify because we both have been in the business a long time, so we may say things that we think everybody knows what it is.
Yep.
You mentioned seller contributions. First of all, the 0% down payment is wonderful. The only thing you're going to need is some earnest money. Again, that's all negotiable between the buyer and the seller, but typically that's 1% of the sales price. That goes into earnest to help by the title company, which goes towards your purchase later on. But the down payment that you would require, like 20% down, 5% down, 3, 10, whatever, 12% down, that goes away. It's 100% financing. Do I have that all correct?
You got it all correct.
Okay. Now, let me clarify buy a home. I think people think they have to have this house like mom and dad has that they work their way up to, but you can start out with any kind of home. Is this applicable to condos and townhouses as well as single family?
This particular program is only single family.
Only single family. Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
condominiums are a little bit different animal with the HOAs involved, and
Yeah,
so this particular program they are strictly sticking to single family residences. But we do have condo financing as well, but not for this particular program.
understood. Another thing I got to get on my soapbox here, which if you listen to my podcast, you've heard before, but people don't wait until you can buy the $800,000 house. Buy whatever you can afford right now. And with the zero down payment, you can't afford not to buy a house, in my opinion. Start out with, a smaller home and work your way up, but at least you're building equity, which means you're building wealth and you're not
Mhm.
putting the money in a landlord's pocket, you're putting it in your pocket. So this is just an amazing opportunity for anyone that wants to have their own home, no matter what the size. Just get in the business here. Get your home, take that leap, become an owner, not a tenant.
Correct. I agree with that 100%. And also, I think we've mentioned this before. This is the potential starting point to building future wealth. So
Yes.
you could take this home, buy your starter home, get some experience with it, get familiar with
Build
being a
some equity.
homeowner, building equity, and then whenever you're ready to increase it to the next size home, you could either sell it or convert it into a rental property and start
Yes.
your investment property portfolio.
Your portfolio.
Yeah. So, because nothing will change on your loan when you convert it over to the rental property, but then you can go buy your new home, your new primary
Which is a
residence. So,
wonderful idea. Yeah,
yeah.
I know sometimes people call that mailbox money, but
Mhm.
you've got money coming in each month, assuming you got a good renter and you're making a profit on top of still owning a home, owning property and building equity on that as well. I mean, if you buy smart, you're going to start building that equity the minute you buy it. Obviously, if you overpay for something or you buy, there's all kinds of, get a good realtor that can know the area and knows how to help you, and they'll help you find the right home and a good purchase. Okay, I need to get off my soapbox now. Um, what else, anything else about the 100% loan that we've talked about? Credit limit, there's no location requirements.
Mhm.
Um, do
No,
they
it's
have to have a
very it
certain amount of income, or they just have to qualify for
yeah, you just have to
owning?
qualify like a traditional loan. So we'll,
Okay,
as I talk to customers, I try to understand what their needs and goals are, um, to understand, to be able to present them different financing options available to them so they can make the best financial decision for themselves. Don't just throw out information to them, or one thing only. Typically, I will try to, unless they are dead set on, X, Y, and Z, I'll give them
right.
that. But if they are open to listening, and I can understand what they're trying to accomplish, I'll present them different options, so that way they can make it the best financial decision for themselves. Because everybody's situation is different, so you want to try to
Absolutely.
tailor things according to what they're trying to do, not just try to push your own agenda. Is my
And
thought.
do not assume that you know everything there is about lending. You need to talk to a lender. You need to call Ben and say, "This is my situation. Can I do this or not?" And if they're not, you can help them in the right direction as to accomplish that. And if they are, then so many people think that well, there's no way I could do this. You don't know until you talk to a lender. You don't know until you give Ben a call and find out what your situation is and what other programs he has available that meet your needs. So please don't, there's anyone listening out there, there's nothing you're going to tell Ben that he hasn't already heard. And he's not going to judge you. So just call
For
and
the
ask
most part.
questions.
Yep. For the most part, I have 25 years in the business, so I've seen and heard enough to, um, that probably is not going to shock me. But hey, I'm open. Test me. So, I like hearing. I'm always learning new things, and coming across different scenarios that, even to this day, sometimes will surprise me. But I'll find a way, to make it happen, and or get you to that point where it can happen if it's not an instant, approval, or if you're not quite ready yet. So I'll work with you throughout from start to finish, and I'm your point of contact for life. Like, I give you my cell phone number, I give my, you have my, you can text me, email me anytime, and, whether it's 5 years down the road, reach out if you have problems on your loan. Call me. I'll help answer any questions, or walk you through, or take care of something if I can. I'm not the one and done type of guy.
One and
So
done. Yeah. Full
yeah,
service.
yeah, I try to
I
be.
like that. And now, time for a short break.
Hi, my name is Greg with Graceful Moves Moving and Storage. And with over 1,500 five-star reviews, we're one of the #1 moving companies in the greater Houston area. We specialize in everything from local moves and long distance, packing and unpacking, storage solutions, and so much more. If you guys have any questions, or if there's any way that we can serve you, contact us at 713-280-7990. That's 713-280-7990. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, what else do we need to know about the 100% loan that I may not have asked you about already? Or is
It
it just
does.
as simple as it sounds?
It is honestly as simple as it sounds. We just, as, your mortgage professional. So what I do is, again, try to uncover what you're needing. Then we'll work together to get you pre-approved. So we'll get, basic information on the client, 2 years living history and work history, and get an idea of what income and assets that they do have. And then, of course, based on what they're trying to accomplish, put it all together, and come up with some solutions for them. But yeah, it's as straight, easy as you would think it should be, and thank goodness it is. Not a lot of red tape, which I can appreciate, because,
We
nobody
all
wants to
can.
deal with, nobody wants to deal with a bunch of, extra work that is not necessarily needed. So it's very straightforward, which I appreciate. So
All right. Well, anyone listening out there, you're doing yourself a big disservice if you don't call and find out about this. Excuse me, this special program. Now, last time we were together, we talked about DSCR loans, which is a way for um, someone to start building a portfolio financially. So you can all refer back to that podcast, hopefully. But what other unique or programs you might offer to people that maybe most people have not heard of? I mean, this 100% down. no down payment is incredible. What else do you have in your pocket that you want to tell us about?
Well, the other one, another good one I love to me is a self-employed borrower loan, which we can definitely um, go in more detail, but it's basically for strictly a loan for self-employed borrowers where we don't require tax returns. Um, it's it's um, it's kind of as simple as that, but we get bank statements instead of tax returns in order to come up with an income to help them qualify. We're all taught to write everything off, so there's
Hmm.
no reason that people shouldn't. And this is a great alternative program to be able to qualify them not using tax returns. So
Now, typically self-employed people like myself, you have to have 2 years of work history. Is that still correct or has that changed?
there are some investors that will do one. They Most of them like to have two. It gives you a little bit stronger history and
Right.
a feel for the investors that you've had a little bit more history for sure. But one, there are some that will do one. So it just depends on the situation and what the client needs. It opens a lot more doors, I'll say, with two
Yeah.
years than it does one. Just the history is super important, right? Because you have to be able to show
Right.
something. And so a lot of times when they just started their business, the first 6 months or so, they're not necessarily bringing in the steadiness. It's kind of putting money out to help grow the
Still
business
building.
versus you're still building, right? And so
Hmm.
after that, then this hopefully you've started getting your base clients or whatever to kind of get some steadiness in your bank statements, so that way they can come up with a solid income for you. Yeah,
That's
pretty cool.
fantastic. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it is sometimes hard for self-employed people. Typically, you're probably not going to buy a house if you've been in business less than 2 years, but every circumstance is different. So I can't say that that's true or not. It's just perhaps it's not untrue, but every
well, but
situation is different.
every situation is different. A lot of times the self-employed owner has been in that same line of work and then transferred over into him owning his own business, but in that same line of
Yeah.
work. So that will kind of carry over, where definitely
Oh,
the 1 year will be okay, because you can see like there was uh, history from the past that'll kind of help go into the new. Obviously, you still will have to have 12 months in just the self-employed side of it, just so we can see what that income looks like on that
right,
side, since he or she's not W-2'd anymore.
right.
Um, yeah.
No W-2s. Well, that's good to know, but I'm still just so impressed with the 100% financing. I hope everybody out there gives you a call and finds out, how they can make that work for them. Uh, now, is this just for first-time home buyers? Did I ask you that? I don't think I did yet.
I didn't know it's for everybody. No, first time, second, third, fourth,
Okay.
fifth, whatever. As long as you're buying a primary residence, you can do it. So I think I mentioned on the last one is just one example of a non first time home buyer. Person was buying a property. Um, it was their second and third home, and um, they needed the no money down as they were going to do a large renovation,
Ah,
and then they were going to refinance it all back together afterwards. And so we did the first mortgage at zero down, did a home improvement loan to help give her the funds for the renovation. And then once that renovation is complete, then we'll put everything together in a new loan for her and use the post renovation value to give her more equity.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I like that idea because there's a lot of people that, you know, say, well, I just don't want to have to redo that bathroom or I can't afford to redo whatever is the issue. So this would be very helpful for them.
For sure, for sure. And there's a lot of homes around town that people like, but they're like, well, how can I fix it up, or how can I,
Mhm.
buy it and be able to make it like I want it? And so this
Right.
was another great option for doing something like that.
Fantastic. One thing I kind of got off track when I got on my soapbox. You were talking about seller contributions. So you put down your earnest money. There's no down payment on the loan. So whatever, you know, uh, it's $200,000 house. You're financing $200,000. There are always closing costs with the lender and the title company. So you mentioned seller contributions during the process of your option period and negotiating. It is possible to get money towards your closing costs. So that's how you could get from uh, owing none of these fees or expenses or charges down to just walking in with no money at all. So that takes care of your lender costs, your title costs. It might even cover a survey or so many different things. So it's always good to remember negotiating closing costs, maybe more so than even negotiating your the price of the house, depending on your situation. Every situation is different. Talk to your experienced realtor and get the
Mhm.
facts. Talk to your lender. Uh, but man, to be able to buy a house and walk into title and bring nothing but your smile, that would be fabulous.
Yes, it's a nice feeling, and so well, I try to attend most of my closings, and so seeing their faces and tell their um, having them say thank you for first getting me into a home, especially the first home buyers, they're
Right.
always super excited. But and then for the ones that have been able to help with the no money down and potentially little to nothing net closing, I mean, they're just grinning ear to ear because they
Hmm.
never thought that was possible. So I would say definitely reach out if you have any questions um, and let's explore your options.
And something else you just said that you attend your closings. I think that is so important. That used to be almost a common thing to do, and now there are very, very few lenders that do that. And I think that's invaluable. I mean, there shouldn't be anything go wrong, but to have you show up and assure them or be there with them is, I commend you. I applaud you
Oh,
for doing that
I think
because
I'm
some
a
people
little
just don't take the time to do it.
I'm a little old school in that, I guess. I do. Everybody's so busy nowadays that all the upfront stuff you don't get to meet anybody, the
Right.
clients up front anymore like you used to, uh, and so it gives me a way to finally meet them in person because I know they're going to be there because they're excited, right? So it gives me a chance to meet them in person and just make sure everything goes smoothly. Because if I need to pick up the phone and call somebody to, hey, send that wire or whatever, whatever we need to do,
Right.
I can do it. So. Uh, anything extra I can do to help to make it a smooth process, I try to make sure. I try to remember being on that side. It's
Yeah,
as
exactly.
doing this for a while, you kind of like you get stuck on this side of the table, right? But you have to remember when you bought a house or when you did this, all right, you remember what that was like. So try to remember both sides of the picture.
I do that very thing because the first time I bought a house, well, first of all, I was scared about the whole process because I wasn't a realtor then. I didn't understand it or know how it works. And unfortunately, my realtor did not show up until later. And the whole thing was a mess. And so I swore I would always make sure my clients know exactly what's happening. I have never missed a closing. So knock on wood, I never have
Yeah.
to miss a closing.
So,
But it's, you know, full service is not as common as it used to be. So I applaud anyone as yourself that takes that phrase seriously and their business seriously. So thank you, Ben.
of course. No. Thank you.
Now, how do people reach you to talk to you about that 100% financing?
Well, I'll give up my cell phone like I give to everybody. It's 281-798-4712. My email is ben.shores@fccu.org. So either way, call, text, email. I'll be glad to return any messages if I miss you, but I try to answer all my calls as best as possible for sure.
Great. And this is First Community Credit Union. You do not have to be a member of the credit union to use your services. I just want everyone to understand that.
That's correct. And if you do become a member, we'd love to have you, and it's free.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
All right, give us your
uh,
phone number one more time, Ben, for
yeah,
anyone
no
that
problem.
missed it.
It's 281-798-4712.
Okay, well, we are about out of time. So is there any last words of wisdom? or you just want everyone to give you a call?
Just give me a call. I'd love to help any way I can, and let's get you into that new home.
Okay. So I don't want to hear from anyone out there that you can't afford a house because he can make it happen.
That's right.
Thanks, Ben, for coming on again. I know you're busy and I really appreciate it.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real and Real Estate Podcast. I hope today's insights have inspired and empowered you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with anyone who might benefit. Have questions or a topic you'd like us to explore? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep moving towards success.